Thank you, Ryan. Good morning, everyone. It's so good to see you. Isn't this a wonderful rainy day? Don't you love a rainy day? It is, I want to welcome all of you here and also all of our folks at home participating in their pajamas. And I want to just say before we start our first song that I want to give a special thanks to Deb Moore, who is going to be our speaker today. Thank you for wearing so many hats, Deb. So let's stand up and sing Reach Out. Reach out, spread a little love around. Reach out, spread a little love around. If you want to make a difference in this world, there's just one thing to do. You gotta reach out and spread a little love around. Oh yeah. Reach out and spread a little peace and joy. Reach out and spread a little peace and joy. If you want to make a difference in this world, there's just one thing to do. You've got to reach out, spread a little peace and joy. Oh yeah. Reach out and sing a little harmony. Reach out and sing a little harmony. If you want to make a difference in this world, there's just one thing to do. You gotta reach out and sing a little harmony. Oh yeah. You gotta reach out and spread a little peace and joy. Oh yeah. You gotta reach out and spread a little love around. Oh yeah. All right. I'm going to share some announcements with you. And you can always go to our website and get more information. But Unity of Music City is opening on a limited capacity. We have a soft opening today. And we, of course, are practicing social distancing. Masks are required. The Namaste Cafe and the children's programs are not available temporarily. You can receive a ticket to come just by going to the Unity of Music City website, and that information is there. On Wednesday morning at 11:30, feel free to join our Lunch Bunch book club. Right now they are reading Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer on August the 12th, and Karen Burr, who is a lovely person, is leading that group. So I know you'll enjoy that. Prayer chaplains are always available for your prayers. Please remember that. If you have a prayer request or a concern and you would like a chaplain to be aware of this, please either send an email to the Unity of Music City prayer chaplains, and again, that information is on the website. Wednesday, September the 16th, the Leadership Council will have a Zoom meeting at 6:30, and that information will be coming out to you in more detail on an email. All right, let's sing again.
It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, and I'm standing in need of prayer. and I'm standing in the need of prayer.
It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord,
and I'm
standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord,
and I'm
standing in the need of prayer.
It's not my brother, not my sister, but it's me, dear Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's not my mother, nor my father, oh, it's me, dear Lord, standing in the need of prayer.
It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's not the preacher, not the teacher, but it's me, oh Lord, and I'm standing in the need of prayer. It's not the preacher, not the teacher, but it's me, oh Lord, and I'm standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord,
and I'm
standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord,
and I'm
standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer.
and I'm standing in the need of prayer.
Today, the affirmation is, I open my heart in love. Would you repeat that with me, please? I open my heart in love. I express the love I feel in my heart by showing my affection and giving nurturing attention. I speak lovingly, positive words that let those I care about know how much they mean to me. As my words affirm their goodness, beauty, and intelligence, I watch those qualities bloom like flowers, blessed by sunshine. I extend my arms and embrace my family and friends with the warmth and comfort of unconditional love. I support my loved ones with compassion and care on the journey through life. I share my wisdom as I teach, my experience as I advise, and my understanding as I console. I pray for those I love, knowing that the Christ within them is the Christ that guides them everywhere they go and everything they do. I am grateful for my role in my loved ones' lives.
Thank you, Jill. And I ask you now to just still yourself wherever you are. Close your eyes if it helps. Still your mind. All that energy that bounces around inside our body like a pinball machine, even when we're sitting still. Still that too. And let's begin by taking a few deep breaths. We breathe in oxygen, and that oxygen goes to work. It goes through our lungs, and it goes through our heart, and it goes into our blood, and it goes to every cell of our body to do the work of healing and energizing. And then we breathe out all that is not needed any longer. We breathe out what the world needs. And that beautiful cycle carries on throughout our entire life. That miracle. And so when we start to still ourselves, we start by breathing. And we let our breath settle into a nice, gentle rhythm. And once you've settled and stilled, I want you to imagine a beautiful garden. It looks like whatever a beautiful garden looks like to you. It has your favorite flowers, lush greens, maybe a beautiful walking path. And you go into this garden, and as you enter, you notice that there is a bench in this garden, and on that bench is your spiritual teacher, whomever that is for you. Perhaps the first person who came to your mind is not someone you think of as a spiritual teacher, but we are all spiritual teachers. And this teacher beckons to you to come over and sit on the bench. And you do. And then the teacher says to you, "My friend, what is it that troubles you?" And in the silence, we will hand it all over to the teacher. Tell the teacher, whatever is troubling you. In the silence. In the silence. And when we have released, we are lighter. We are freer. We are more capable to carry out that which is ours to do. We have been freed from the things that only lived in our mind. We've turned them over and let them go so that we can do the work of love. That's what we're here to do. And so it is. Take a second to get myself together here a little bit. You know, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to say during the meditation, and then Spirit snuck up on me. I don't know if that ever happens to you, but Spirit kind of snuck up on me, and normally, whatever comes out of my mouth is for me. So, thank you. Today's talk is called Making a Statement. Now, that's an interesting statement in and of itself, because when you make a statement, you make a statement, right? It is something that is said that has influence and impact. And I'm talking about a little bit of a different kind of a statement today, because I'm going to talk about mission statements. Now, before you all go changing the bat channel, it's not going to be as boring as it sounds. All right? Mission statements are important guiding lights for a person or an organization that allow us to stay on track and continue to do the work that we do. In the past, some of the most important board meetings and board retreats that I was a part of, or leadership council meetings, were those that talked about mission statements. Several times over the years, we've reshaped our mission statement here at Unity of Music City, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that the mission was wrong. It means that it has served its purpose. It has run its course, right? When I was going to college, my mission was to graduate and get good grades. Not in that order. I got the good grades first, and then I graduated. And once I graduated, that was no longer my mission. As I tell my students all the time, this is on you. I have my degrees. Right? We're working on yours now. So it's okay for missions to change, and they have over the years here at Unity of Music City. I emailed Denise yesterday, and I said, do you remember any mission statements of ours? Just off the top of your head. Don't go to any trouble or anything. And she sent me back a few of them, most of the ones that I kind of remembered myself. For a long time, our mission statement was, remembering our oneness with all creation, we awaken the world to infinite possibilities, right? That was a good one. That was a really good one. At a certain point, we met. I remember it was just Denise and Sharon Duffy and I. The board was lean and mean in those days. And we met for an entire weekend, and we spent an entire weekend working on a mission statement. It took 3 college-educated people, 2 nights and 3 days to write 1 sentence. Because we knew it had to be a really, really, really good sentence. Right? It didn't have to be profound. It didn't have to be long. It just had to resonate with truth. That's what it had to do. And we wrote one, and do you know, for the life of me, I can't remember it. It had something to do with creating experiences for authentic transformations. That's what our mission was, to create those experiences for people. Right? I don't quite remember it, which you may want to revisit if you can't remember your mission statement, right? But what I do remember, and what you might remember as well, is that we are a place of authentic transformation. It's who we are, and it's what we do. Welcome. And the reason why I remember that is because for about 3 years, I said it every Sunday morning, and then Becky Duffield said it every Sunday morning for about a year, and it was drilled into us, and we remember it, right? So doing this work of creating a mission statement, something that we can all buy into, a singular vision for this organization, requires that we stand in a unique place and look from a unique perspective. It is the most present of presents. I like the phrase, be where your feet are. Right? Not where your head is, because that can be 1,000 miles away. Not where your heart is, because that can be spread all over the universe. Be where your feet are right now. Be where your physical body is in this moment. And from that place of pure presence, physical presence, we look back and we look forward at the same time. It's a 360-degree vision that is required to create a mission that a group of people can buy into together. In this present is where the old creation of the past meets the new creation of the future. Right? Where the old creation of the past meets the new creation of the future. It is where we're supposed to always live. So we have to look a little bit at the past sometimes. This right here is a selfie. This is me. It's a self-portrait. And it's actually from my Ancestry.com ethnicity estimate. I am pure D white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. That's pretty much it. English, Scottish, German, Irish, and thank God 2% of me is Viking, where I'd be really, really boring. Right? I love going back and looking at my ancestry. I've managed to trace some of my lines. You know, it spreads out pretty quickly. It doubles every generation. Everybody has 2 parents. Everybody. And so it doubles pretty quickly. I've been able to go back on a couple of my lines to 17 generations back. 17 generations back. And do you know that on that level of ancestry, just that one level of 17 generations ago, all of us have over 130,000 people on that level, just on that level, right? You go back 3 more generations, 20 generations, that's 1 million people on just that level, added to the 500,000, added to the 2.5 million, add all these people who make me a part of who I am. To put it in perspective, that 20 generations ago, those 1 million people who were all, buying somebody dinner to create me, those 1 million people were living about 30 years after Christopher Columbus made his first trip to the New World. One of my ancestors might have been on those boats. Although I don't have any Portuguese up there, so maybe they weren't. It was also the height of the Protestant Reformation, and I guarantee you one of my ancestors was in the Protestant Reformation. Maybe Martin Luther himself. I want to show you someone, though, who didn't know where she came from. This is Harriet Tubman. Well, it's not really Harriet Tubman, it's Cynthia Erivo playing Harriet Tubman in the movie from last year called Harriet. And if you have not seen that movie, then I'm tempted to say, turn off your camera, go watch the movie, and come back and join us later. But don't, just stay with us, you can watch it later. Absolutely go see that movie. It's on Netflix, HBO, somewhere like that. It's a fantastic movie. But I want to tell you a little bit about Harriet Tubman, this amazing Amazon rock star woman. She didn't know where she came from. Her grandmother arrived on a slave ship. As a child, Harriet Tubman was told that she looks kind of like the Ashanti people. And that's all she knew. That's all she had. Her ancestors were ripped away from their country, their culture, their language, their gods, ripped away from their land, and ripped away from her. And here's what she managed to do. She was born Araminta Ross, that was her name. They called her Minty. She changed her name later because, when you escape from slavery and you become a leader on the Underground Railroad, it helps if people don't know your real name. And she took the name Harriet after her mother, and Tubman from a common law marriage she had been in. As a young woman, she escaped from slavery by herself. By herself. And she ran from the dogs and she ran from the guns. At one point, she jumped off of the bridge into a river to escape because she said, I can have liberty or I can have death. But that's all. Those are the only 2 things I want. The only 2 things I want. So she escaped and she made it all the way to freedom. And then what did she do? She turned around and came back. And over the course of 8 years, she came back 13 times. 13 times she knew she was risking certain death if she was caught. If she didn't know every single move to make and do just the right thing. I've heard it said before that Harriet Tubman would say to people who were traveling on the Underground Railroad with her, you don't change your mind. If you change your mind, I'll shoot you in the back. Because I will not let you risk the liberty of these other people. I'm the boss, and what I say goes. If you want to go, let's go. 8 years, 13 missions, over 70 people she brought to freedom and never lost a single one. Every single one she successfully brought to freedom. They called her Moses because she led her people to the promised land. After the Underground Railroad, once the Civil War started, she served as a spy for the Union Army, and to this day, she is the only woman who has ever led an armed regiment into battle for the United States. She led the raid on Combahee Ferry, and in that raid, they managed to free over 700 more slaves. And do you know what? They never paid her. She wasn't on salary. She didn't get a pension or compensation from the U.S. Army. She lived most of her life in extreme poverty. She did all of this, and she didn't know how to read. She was illiterate throughout her entire life. She'd been hit on the head as a child by an iron weight that hit her in the head. It was meant for another slave, and they ducked, and it hit her. And from that moment on, she had seizures and headaches and visions from God. And those visions are what guided her. Now, how does this young woman, without the ability to read, I mean, let's think about that for just a moment. I don't have the ability to read. I've lived all my life on this one farm. How do I even know which way is north? Right? How do I know when I've crossed a state line? The absolute impossibility of that mission was not what was on her mind. What was on her mind was freedom. She managed to do this because she had a sense of mission. Harriet Tubman wrote, said, she didn't write it, she was illiterate. She said, there was one of two things I had a right to, liberty or death. If I could not have one, I would take the other, for no man would take me alive. I would fight for liberty as long as my strength lasted. You know what that is? That's a mission statement. I will fight for liberty as long as my strength lasts. And here we are now, those of us who live in this community together, share in this community together. We're standing at that very unique place in that now moment where our feet are, between the past and the future, trying to figure out for us and for our community, what is that one driving, guiding light that's going to take us to the new creation of who we are. You know, every religion that has ever been created on this planet, and every philosophy, every idea or thought system has been created to answer three questions. And these are the three questions. Where did we come from? Why are we here? And where do we go next? And most religions will answer that, well, we come from God. We're here to serve God. And when we go next to God. Right? And those are the three biggies, the three big questions. The first question is an investigation of the past. That's standing where our feet are and looking back at the past. And sometimes it's an honoring, and sometimes it's a reckoning. Right? For those of us who are white in America, there's often a little reckoning we have to do with the past that lies behind us. The last question is the most difficult one to know, and it kind of depends upon the others. I would contend, now somebody's going to argue with me, but right now I'm talking, so I'm going to contend it. I would contend that nobody knows the answer to that question. Not really. Not truly. You can know that you know that you know, right? And that's good. That's good for you. But there's no scientific evidence. We don't know quite yet. We will know one day. It's the middle question that lives in the now, in the present, that hangs between the old creation and the new creation. Right? Why are we here? What is our purpose? What is our mission? What are we to do? I know my past because of Ancestry.com and because of my daddy, who loved to talk about it. We also know some of our shared past. The shared past of this spiritual community is in the Unity Movement. The Unity Movement, which was started in 1889 by Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. It was inspired by Ralph Waldo Emerson and some Native American spirituality. And just as a quick review, right, we know this. This is just to look back from where our feet are to our past, our history, who we are, our DNA, our spiritual DNA. We have those 5 unity principles, which basically are summed up as God is good, people are good, thoughts create experiences, prayer is good, and action is good. That's pretty much, that's the way I like to think of it, right? We have those 5 unity principles. If you've been around unity for a while, then you're familiar with Charles Fillmore's 12 powers of man. We've used those. A lot of times we've had special services with all the different colored candles up here where you can light those 12 powers being life, faith, understanding, power, imagination, strength, wisdom, love, will, elimination, order, and zeal. Now you might be thinking to yourself, boy, that would have been a good thing to make a slide about, Deb. All those words that you just said, it would have been really nice if we could have seen that. And I purposely did not create slides for those because they're not the point today. Another time they might be the point, but they're not the point today. And I'm going to go a step further and contend that it is our job to use them and honor them and to evolve into the next incarnation of who we are spiritually. I believe Charles Fillmore would argue the same thing. If Charles Fillmore came back 100 years later and said, y'all still talking about those 12 powers? Really? I don't know. They're pretty lasting. They're pretty solid. But the point is that we have to always be growing, always be becoming something else, something new. Our job is the new creation. And that new creation is why we have to have a sense of mission. So creating a mission statement is something that a lot of organizations and a lot of people do. And there are different kinds of statements that organizations have. There are mission statements, there are vision statements, there are values statements. And just as a quick reminder of those, mission statements talk about who we are today. This is who we are and what we're doing. This is our mission. Right? Vision statements focus on our goals and desires. Who are we going to be tomorrow? And then our values identify those things that are most important to us. Now, I think it's possible to have all of these things wrapped up in one statement. We've done that in the past, right? We've wrapped all of those things into one idea of who we are. So I've done this work myself for several years now. I've had a couple of personal mission statements that I've used. And I remembered one from a couple of years ago as I was preparing this talk, and I went back and I pulled it out. And this is my mission. It still works, so I'm going to dust it off and use it again for a while. My mission is to teach what I know, to learn what I don't know, and to convert all knowledge to heart wisdom every chance I get. And that's why I'm here. Right? It's a good thing. It goes along with my job. Right? It helps. To teach what I know, to learn what I don't know, and to convert all knowledge to heart wisdom every chance I get. Now, developing a mission statement like that for yourself or for our organization is harder than it looks. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of thought. It takes extreme self-knowledge and self-honesty. It takes some of those hard conversations, looking in the mirror. The very first mission statement I ever made for myself, I was in my 20s, and it was this process that I found in a book. I don't know, it might have been by Wayne Dyer or somebody, but there was this process that I found in a book, and I was going through this process, and it required weeks of work and asking friends how they saw you and doing all of these steps. And then I came down to one mission statement. I am a passionate believer. That was my mission statement. I'll never forget it. I am a passionate believer. It requires self-knowledge. It has to come from within. For myself, it has to come from within me. For our community, it has to come from within us. We can't hire a consultant to come in here and say, give us a sense of mission. right? It has to come from us. It requires some institutional memory. It also requires a willingness to let go of the past, to honor that past and release it simultaneously. So when you're doing the work of developing a mission for yourself or for an organization that you're involved in, there are a few things, a few tasks that you have to, a few steps you have to go through. So to develop a mission, the first thing that you have to do is you have to identify your past successes. Well, a lot of my past successes have to do with teaching. So it's not a mistake that teaching ended up in my mission statement, right? The second step is you have to identify your core values. What really matters to you? What's the one thing that is non-negotiable, or the many things? What are the non-negotiable aspects of your life? The third thing is that you have to identify your contributions. You've already contributed to the world. What is it that you have contributed? Within that might be your mission. And finally, to identify your goals, your desires, where it is you want to go. So when I think about this in terms of Unity of Music City, the first couple of steps are pretty easy, right? Past successes, well, the first thing that came to my mind was the Nashville Chooses Peace Festival. This is actually the flyer from the very first one in 2016, 4 years ago, so long ago that it was called the Spirit of Unity Festival, and the subtitle was Nashville Chooses Peace, right? I remember the day that picture was made. I'm in that picture. Some of you probably here are in that picture. I recognize some people right in the front center there is, Crystal took the picture. She was there. I see Doug Beal right in the front there. And I'm reminded that people like Doug and Dr. Hugh are still here with us and a part of our mission. That's just one of them, though. Think about all the other things we've done that are past successes. Through Nashville Chooses Peace, we had, Chief Arville here? We had Grandmother Aggie here. We had, that very first year, we had Channel 4 news coverage of our human peace symbol. Do you remember that? We were on the news. Besides the Peace Festival, we've had so many other things. We've had special events like the Maori Healers. We've had the Tibetan monks who've come through here. Years and years ago, before I think anybody in this room Sherry was there. I'm not sure if anybody else was there. We had Greg Braden. Do you remember when we had Greg Braden at the Upside Down Ark over there many, many years ago? We've had Reiki clinics. We've had special services like Thanksgiving Eve and Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve and plays and musicals. We've done all those things. We've had classes. I sat down and started trying to make a list of the classes that I've taken or been in. Esther Hicks, Byron Katie, Gary Zukov, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Charles Fillmore, Heart Math, The Untethered Soul, Muji, Eric Butterworth, Emily Cady, Louise Hay. We have left a legacy of spiritual education that is pretty profound. And my hat's off right now to Denise Jurgen for being such a driver of that kind of spiritual education and leaving that legacy here in our community. And then not to forget the Sunday services and the youth program and the dozens of different ministries and the music and the choir and the recordings we've done. Oh my gosh. Lions and tigers and bears, oh my. Right? So much stuff. And when I think about our core values, I've jotted down a few of them. I don't know if you can see them, but I'll say them so you can follow along. These are the core values I think of our spiritual community having. You might have others that come to your mind. Something that you say, no, I believe we value this. I know that we value authenticity and we value transformation. That spiritual evolution that we are constantly undergoing. We value love, joy, and peace. Everything else we release, right? We value creativity because we see ourselves as co-creators with God. That is central to our message. So we have to value that creative spark that lives in us. We value curiosity. I've learned over the years in some of my classes at school, we talk about the power of curiosity over certainty. Certainty feels like it's really powerful, but it locks you in. And curiosity frees you up. Right? Optimism is one of our core values. We used to be named Unity Center for Positive Living. Right? That is core to who we are. Diversity is one of our core values. Health is one of our core values. And you probably, as I mentioned, can think of others. The contributions that we have made. Now, it's easy to look at the past successes and say, well, those are things we've contributed. But I think contributions are a little bit different. What is it that we just offer? Just offer. Who are we to the world? We offer a safe space for spiritual seekers. We offer a safe spiritual space for children. Right? We offer a sense of spiritual community. We are not alone in this journey. Thank goodness. And this last one is really important to me because I think it's something that we've offered for a long time that we don't often pay a lot of attention to, but we offer a connecting point for like-minded people. For many, many years, the Unity of Music City community has been much larger than the people who show up on a Sunday morning. Right? We've been connected to many other new thought and like-minded communities in this area. The fourth step is our goals and desires, and I didn't put anything there because that's not mine to do. That's ours as a community, to figure out who we are and who we want to become and how we want to show up in the world. You know, having a sense of mission changes a scatter shot into a laser beam. Everything that you do with a sense of mission becomes focused on that mission. What if every single element of what we do from here on out was done in the name of a mission that we could all easily recall and speak out to anybody who asked? Who are we? This is who we are. What are we doing? This is what we're doing. I've pulled some of my favorite missions from some of my favorite people. This is India Ari. If you're not familiar with her music, you should be. She's a singer and songwriter. She wrote the song I Am Light, which we've had performed here several times. I know Ryan sung it once. I think Nikki and Becky Duffield sang it once. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. If anything, it could be the one song that is the theme song to all of our spiritual journey. And a lot of her music has that spiritual edge to it, if you will. She's won 4 Grammy Awards, and she was named to Oprah Winfrey's Super Soul 100 list of visionaries and influential leaders. And this is her mission: to spread love, healing, peace, and joy is my mission in life, and so I speak up. 2 things stand out about this. Is that when amazing people have accomplished amazing things in the world, often underneath you find out that they knew exactly where they were heading all along. They had a mission. This is what I'm doing. And secondly, that this particular statement includes the action piece. And so I speak up. Because a mission statement that is just a sentence on a piece of paper, you might as well have saved that weekend of board retreat, because it's meaningless. But a mission that you hold close to your heart and you know and you live by creates amazing things. This is Jane Goodall, one of my favorite people on the planet. Anybody grow up wanting, I love my mother and my father. I wanted her to adopt me, right? Like, I wanted to be, if most children were treated as well as Jane Goodall's chimpanzees, we would have no problems in the world. She's a primatologist and anthropologist, still alive. She's the world's foremost expert on chimpanzees. She has won so many awards and been named to so many boards and worked with so many conservation efforts that it's just absolutely impossible for me to name them here. Her study of chimps at the Gombe Stream National Park is in its 60th year. And everything she has done has been driven by a mission. My mission is to create a world where we can live in harmony with nature. That's it. And it's taken her around that world and gotten her involved in so many things and made her an advocate that is a household name. This is John Lewis. He passed away recently. It was a very, very sad day for many of us. 33 years as a congressional representative in the U.S. House. He was a civil rights leader, one of the main organizers of the 1963 March on Washington, the march where Dr. King gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. John Lewis was also one of the leaders of the march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma on a day we now know as Bloody Sunday. As a young man, he led 600 people across the bridge to protest for their right to register to vote. And as they crossed the top of that bridge, they saw a line, a battle line of state troopers and police officers on horseback and on foot, with batons, with clubs, with whips. And as those people approached those police officers, not knowing what else to do, the leaders, John Lewis among them, motioned to the people to kneel down and pray. And they got on their knees and they began to pray. And they were attacked by the troopers and the police officers. It was not the first instance of police brutality in our nation, and sadly, it was not the last instance. It was a bloody one, though. And in the midst, John Lewis had his skull fractured, spent the night in the hospital, and for the rest of his life carried the scars of that day. He also has a connection to our area of the world. He was a student at Fisk University and was one of the young leaders of the Nashville student movement to desegregate lunch counters. And what he says about mission is this: what I try to tell young people is that if you come together with a mission and it is grounded with love and a sense of community, you can make the impossible possible. That sounds a whole lot like us. Grounded with love, a sense of community. You know, every Sunday that Vic Sorrell is speaking, right before we begin our live stream, before we begin our service, he gathers everybody for a quick word of prayer. And those prayers are different every Sunday, but you know what? There's one line that's always in there. We are here to do the work of love, the most important work we will ever do. He says it so consistently that I would bet money it's part of his mission statement. It's who he is. It's how he has decided to show up in the world. And now it's ours to do, to decide how we show up in the world. This week, I encourage you to spend some time creating a sense of mission for yourself. We're in a pandemic. What else have you got to do? Create a sense of mission for yourself. And then as you're doing that, do your spiritual community the favor of thinking about who we are. And when Spirit downloads something for you, shoot off an email. Now, don't make any demands. Spirit doesn't work that way. But when you get a vision, a sense, I think this is one of our core values. I believe this is one of the things we contribute to the world or can contribute. Then bring it into our discussion and share it with us. Join with us in introducing the old creation to the new creation. Connect with us at this connecting point. And let us engage together in a mission that can change the world. Namaste.
Deb Moore, I'm so glad that your mission is to teach what you know. And I'm so thankful that we are recipients of your mission. Thank you so much for that wonderful lesson. Let's see, do we have, okay, here we are. So we are now going to please take your offerings and hold in your hands. There are many ways to contribute to our church, so please take advantage of one of those opportunities and say the offertory affirmation with me, please. I am open to receiving floods of financial abundance with ease, so that I may be able to give back even more to the world around me.
Many voices, one spirit, a new day is dawning. Can you feel it? Different choices we make, different roads we may take. We are many voices, one spirit, singing my song until the whole world hears it. Songs of love and praise, songs of hope and faith, finding our common ground, we'll let the light shine through. We are many voices, one spirit, new days dawning. Can you feel it? Different choices we make, different roads we may take. Songs of love for all the human race. One spirit.
The prayer of protection, please. Okay. Let's
The light of God
surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Thank you, God, for opening our hearts and for all we feel. We carry you with us as we leave this place, knowing a love that's so real. Here in this moment, we stand in our truth. We welcome the peace that it brings. God, as you guide us, renew and remind us that you are the reason we sing. God, as you guide us, renew and remind us that you are the reason we sing.
Have a great week, everyone.